So, Max Verstappen won his second Grand Prix in a row, following up his Grand Slam victory at Imola with victory in the inaugural Miami Grand Prix, taking the lead from pole sitter Charles Leclerc early on and maintaining it in the late safety car restart. However, the Dutchman brushed the wall during Friday's first practice session, prompting a precautionary change to the gearbox of his Red Bull, which delayed him from taking to the track for the first 30 minutes of practice 2. When he finally made it onto the new Miami circuit in the afternoon, he reported steering issues and a hydraulic problem that forced him to return to the pits with overheating rear brakes. 3 red flags across the 2 sessions, limited opportunities for all drivers to become acquainted with F1's newest circuit, but as George Russell topped the timesheet for Mercedes ahead of Ferrari Charles Leclerc, Verstappen feels Red Bull will suffer for the continued reliability failures. After winning the race on Sunday, Verstappen said, "Yes, of course, it's a very good comeback. I didn't even do a practice start, so I didn't know what to expect in the actual start. But we had a good launch and I saw the opportunity to go around the outside of Sainz in turn 1, so I tried. Luckily it worked. Then of course I was not very happy with that safety car, but of course fully understandable what happened, and of course you cannot be too disappointed about it because also in the past it has benefited me in some races. I knew it was going to be a tough one to the end, it was quite physical out there. Now the next 10 laps we had to be flat out. On a track like this it's not easy." Despite his victory, Verstappen urged his team to find a way to replicate Imola's trouble-free weekend on a regular basis, acknowledging that the team's operations are still hit or miss. "On my side, I had a lot of issues on Friday, which compromises your weekend, and especially yesterday. Of course, today everything went well with the start, but it also could have been the other way round. And then you of course can say like, well, fair enough, because if you missed almost a whole Friday, what can you do about it? We just have to nail down a really positive weekend without issues. I think of course Imola we had that, but it's still a bit of a hit and miss too much, so we just have to make sure that we're more reliable and more on top of things. But as you can see, the car is quick. I'm very happy about that. I mean, if you would be slow and reliable, that's probably also not a good thing." Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez was dealing with his own problems. On Saturday, the Mexican qualified 4th for Red Bull and spent the early part of the race chasing Ferrari's Carlos Sainz for 3rd. However, just as Perez was closing in on Sainz, he reported a loss of engine powers to his Red Bull engineer, who initially assumed the time loss was due to dropping out of Sainz's tow. The team eventually discovered that Perez's engine had a sensor problem, but the Mexican was able to take a free pit stop for fresh mediums under the safety car. It put Perez in a strong position for the final 11-lap sprint to the checkered flag, with the 3 cars ahead still running old hards, but despite an attempted lunge, he was unable to pass Sainz, finishing 4th. "I was in a great spot. Unfortunately, even with a DRS, I couldn't get close to Carlos. The deficit on the straight line was quite high. I was just pushing really hard to stay close to him on the corners. My tyres were overheating, so as soon as I had a little opportunity, I went for it. It was too dirty offline. After that, I just couldn't get close. The deficit on the straight line was too much." Red Bull team principal Christian Horner admitted that Sergio Perez's car had a problem that cost him a lot of time and hampered his chances of finishing on the podium, resulting in yet another point loss due to a reliability issue at Red Bull. "We had a sensor issue on Checo's engine. The guys did well to move them around, but he lost probably 30 horsepower with that. He was losing half a second a lap. Without that, he might even have been second. With the tyre advantage, because we pitted him, he had that grip advantage over the Ferraris." It was Red Bull's latest power unit related reliability setback in the early part of the year, which also saw the team lose out in Bahrain and Australia. Perez believed Red Bull had been struck by more than bad luck, serving as a further reminder of the work that needs to be done to understand its current problems. "We need to keep working hard because every time we're finding different issues. Luckily we managed to finish the race. I think at one point it was really close to being over. So yeah, to be able to finish the race is good." When asked about the team's repeated issues, however, Horner refuted suggestions that the RB18 is particularly fragile, explaining that the team's reliability issues were due to minor issues that he's confident will be resolved. "I don't think the car is particularly fragile. I think there's just been niggly things that you would have normally seen in pre-season testing that have only reared their head as we got into the season. That's been frustrating, but we're working closely with Honda and they're giving us great support, so I think we'll get those ironed out." Max Verstappen's second consecutive Grand Prix victory following his victory at Imola suggests that recent car developments have given Red Bull the advantage. But while Ferrari's early season advantage has been eroded by his decision not to introduce any major updates thus far, the Italian team remains focused on the long game. With all teams limited by F1's $140 million budget cap this year, Ferrari believes Red Bull's aggressive early spending will cost it later when its development budget runs out. After the Miami Grand Prix, Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto admitted that the difference in form between his team and Red Bull could be explained by the extensive upgrades brought to Imola by its rival. However, he believes Red Bull will be unable to maintain its current rate of change without exceeding the cost cap limit by the end of the year. It's true that Red Bull have improved their car since the very start of the season, and they introduce upgrades. If I look at the last two races, maybe they've got a couple of tenths per lap faster to us. Now, I have no doubt that in order to keep the pace, we need to develop ourselves and introduce upgrades. I hope, because there is as well as a budget cap, that at some stage Red Bull will stop development, otherwise I will not understand how they can do that. Ferrari is planning to bring its first major upgrade package to the F1 75 for the Spanish Grand Prix, and Binotto knows how important the developments in Barcelona will be if Ferrari wants to inject some fresh form into its campaign. In the next races, it will be at least our turn to try to develop as much as we can on the car by introducing upgrades. I think it's not a surprise that we may have a package in Barcelona which will be important for us. As usual, I hope that the package we're introducing is working as expected, and in that case can be good, in order to try to catch up the current gap we've got compared to the Red Bull. Ferrari appears to be very selective with its plan for new car parts, having waited 5 races before introducing its first proper development. Binotto claims that the financial constraints imposed in order to stay under the budget cap force it to be sparing with upgrades this year. We do not have the money to spend for upgrades at each single race. I think it's as simple as that, not because of an inability, but because of the budget cap. So we need somehow to try to focus development on when we believe it's the right moment and the right spending. In response to a question about the campaign's strategy, Binotto stated, "We will not declare what we will do." So, it remains to be seen how this development battle plays out in the long run, and with reliability issues still plaguing Red Bull cars, the Milton Keynes outfit may have bitten off more than it can chew. Regardless, Barcelona will be the first test for Ferrari's development team, and with the team historically struggling to keep up in development battles like this one, it'll be interesting to see how if they can turn their fortunes around this year. So, what are your thoughts on Red Bull's ongoing reliability problems? When will they resolve all of their issues? Will Ferrari reel them in at Barcelona, or will their major upgrade be insufficient? We'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos.